Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is just a 1 hour snippet of one of our major courses that Max-Migold undertakes to impart knowledge to facility managers and people who have interest and the strong flair for facility management. Of course, you can't see my bio today, but when you register, for our courses, you see you have more stuff than what we have today and the main course of the training. I actually undertake students on procurement and contract management and then security in facility management. Um, in procurement, what we're taking today is beyond the fine print, crafting performance-based facility management contracts that actually deliver. Now, this aspect is just a little snippet of what you have in procurement and contract management. Now, the contract aspect, in most cases, facility managers or facility enthusiasts don't know or don't seem to realize that contract is important. Or when you mention contract, they are like, oh, I'm not in the legal department. I'm not the legal advisor. Why would I be drawing contract and all that? But you forget that irrespective of whatever any department does, the facility manager manages everything at the end of the day, starting from the IT to the telecom to the fixtures and fittings to the structure to the built up. So you manage them. But the question is, when do you now come to realize or find yourself engrossed in the contract itself? As a facility manager or facility personnel, you might not even be part of the team that drew up the contract for the goods and services that are needed. Or you may be for any organization that appreciates facility management and in which the facility management department has been isolated on its own, is a full-fledged department. There's no way for you to get to that level. As the organization is increasing to that level, that necessity for a full-fledged facility department arises. And when that does, you can be sure that contracts will come in. But there are different kinds of contracts, different fields, different contracts, or even in one organization or in one field, you have different stages or different types of contracts. One of the common contracts in facilities management is actually performance-based facility management contracts. That's one of the contracts. Now, today we just want to brush through. For those who have gone through or who have a little bit, we just want to have a revised knowledge of what the performance-based facility contract means. And for those who have no idea at all, we want to give you the basic of what performance-based contract means in facilities management, because you cannot run away from it unless your organization does not run a full-fledged facility department. Now, in doing this, we are more like turning contracts into catalysts for performance, accountability, and real value. The end result is to save the organization money or get maximum service at less cost. A performance-based contract is a common type of contract under facility management in which payments and rewards are tied to the attainment of specific targets and outcomes in the execution of the contract. That is our intro. So most of you might have already gotten the slides or not, but this is the course objective, which this is the course outline. And this is why why contracts in facility management. That's another aspect, when you ask yourself a lot of questions, why is the organization drawing me into this, what I have no idea of? Or why are they bringing me into it late? Or why is it now that I'm here that the organization is actually realizing that it has to go into contracts? Now, why contracts? The main course offered is procurement and contract management. Now, why is the contract an aspect that we have isolated and want to treat a bit today? Now, in procurement and contract management, there's a difference between procurement to purchase a car. There's a willing buyer, there's a willing seller, I'm a willing buyer. All I do, I take my money, I go, I pay for the Toyota vehicle, pick it up, and a willing buyer will come, and another willing seller will come and insist procurement and purchase. The procurement undertakes the fine lines, the outlines that cover. Now, procurement recognizes the gap between the willing buyer and the willing seller, more like the valley. There's a space there. You understand me? But purchase does not recognize. All the purchase does is go to over the counter, pay money, and take what you want. Go across the road, buy bread, and come back. Now, when it gets to the level of procurement, uh, there are many reasons why a contract or a transaction gets to the level of procurement. But once it gets to the level of procurement, there must be contracts. Now, procurement, the procurement recognizes that value, the space between the willing buyer and willing seller, recognizes it, and then recognizes the intricacies, the little elements that constitute that space. Now, one person went, just paid money, picked the car, and went. Another one went and activated procurement process. What is that? And the question is, what is the guarantee on this vehicle? When do I bring it for services? What and what makes me liable to buying this vehicle? What and what are the services I expect from this vehicle? And everything. What's the commitment of the seller to me, and what's the commitment of me, the buyer, to the seller? All these are documented. In all this, the procurement steps in, and when is coming in with his brother, which is the contract, all these have to be documented and agreed upon. That is where you have where contract comes in. Now, when does contract come in? In managing a large facility, your facility must be big such that you cannot, maybe it's in fact, it's a multi-departmental organization that has every department is identified and works independently and renders its own reports and accounts. So, which means it must be a big organization. It's not a one-man business or a one-man business that just have 5 people working under. So you need a contract when it gets to that level. In bundling services, you might have the organization might need different services at the same time, but to relieve management to face its the make focus of what it has come to do in that organization, it might want to contract out those services. For example, one organization might need cleaning services, might need security services, might need maintenance services. It simply goes to one consultant. So it's bundling. The one person bundles all this and gives feedback on all that. It is not that the management will have to go and look for cleaning service providers, go out to look for security service provider, go out to look for casual workers providers. No, it outsources it to one particular contractor who undertakes all that. So that is the inbundling. When it gets to that level, you have a contract. You must drop a contract to really get value from what you are requesting. To meet large and regulatory compliances, legal and regulatory compliances, there are organizations, I don't know if it's still obtainable. There was a time when banks in Nigeria were not allowed to run security services. They were not allowed to get involved in things like shipping, shipping management, shipping business. So in such cases, but banks must do business in those areas. So what is required by law is that if you are in banking sector, face your banking calling. If you have necessities to move your cash and all that, outsource that movement to a security company. If you want to get into shipping business and all, outsource it to a ship. So if in such situation where there is law that says you cannot do this if you're doing this, contract comes in to keep you in line, to know, because subcontractors or the main contractor might want to actually carry out a business which will entail on you later. So contract comes in such situation. Retainership for constant maintenance. Their organization, let's say a hotel that has 100 air conditioners, you need to maintain those air conditioners constantly. Even if you have in-house staff that's capable of doing that maintenance, I don't think they'll be efficient enough to maintain all those air conditioners, about 100 or more of them, in the 100 rooms of the hotel at all times, because the air conditioners are used at different times. You cannot structure them all to be serviced at once when they don't need service. So what do? You can draw up a contract and get a retainership with professionals that is their line of service. But there must be contracts. To abide by environmental social governance, what are you doing? This is very common. Well, practically every company, I don't fertilizer and all that. There is constant check on their environment by government agencies, both local, state, and in some cases federal, because there are affluents that they are not allowed to discharge directly into the general discharge channel or gutter that runs, for everybody throughout the whole environment. There are also affluents that need to be treated before they are discharged. And again, in fact, there are checks and balances on how an organization treats its staff. So contract comes into all that. So when you're engaging a staff onboarding, you are likely to even draw up a contract that tells you this is what you do, this is what you don't do, this is what you're entitled to, this is what you're not entitled to. That is when you need contract. But why do you need contract? One, to avoid misunderstandings. Contracts outline what needs to be done. If my company is giving a contract to a construction company to build me a 12-story building, I must know what I want, and then when I want it, and how I want it. Those things must be outlined. The quality of materials I need must be outlined. So there's no misunderstanding. The contractor cannot come and say, but you didn't tell me you want it. No, everything must be black and white. That's why you need contract. To set out and understand payment terms, your budget. I could start a project now that is worth 10 million, and I have only 2 million. And I commissioned the construction of that project, knowing I have only 2 million. But I have projected my receivables and all that. I know that this project will last 6 months, but I know in the next 3 months, my incomes might rise to 20 million. It is only a contract that will state that you, the contractor, are going to execute this project for me. We have discussed and we have agreed. I will pay you 1 million naira upfront mobilization fee. It is a contract that will outline that. It is not a gentleman's agreement. It never works that way. Contracts help set measurable performance standards. It helps you no matter what kind or how big or small the contract is, there is always periods, what you expect at every. I'm commissioning this contract to be executed. It will last 1 week. I know what I should see in the next 2 to 3 days. In fact, what you see in 2 to 3 days will determine whether that contract can actually be executed within 1 week. And it also tells you if the person executing the contract have the capacity and capability to actually execute it. So it shows you clearly measurable performances and standards that are already ongoing. That's what the contract can help you. It provides legal recourse in case of disputes. There is always a dispute. Some disputes are not confrontational. Some actually, there could be disputes that are, that are agreeable, that we agree that there will be disputes that actually could be good, dispute for good. You understand? It could be anything could lead to that. Inflation in the market. You must have projected, okay, I want to install 3 windows. The 3 windows will cost me 3 naira. By the time the contractor is able to finish all the structures that will take those windows, it could have increased. A contract will make provision for, look, in case there are variations, we will agree to attend to it. Or in case there are variations, we will not accommodate it. and also tells you how to plan. So for legal recourse, it helps. It elevates organizations' management to the level of trust and professionalism. When you have contracts, anything goes wrong, the company says, okay, we have tried all remedial processes to resolve this. Let's go to court. It is only a recognized organization, a well-managed one that will say, okay, let's go to court. And the court will listen to everybody. There is nobody that will resort to self-help. And if you see an organization that works by the rules and does things well, you will want to patronize that organization. So it elevates that organization's management to the level of trust and professionalism. Performance-based facility management contract, which is what we are going to review now. It is a contract agreed and drafted in such a way that every level of execution automatically exposes the key performance indicators that evaluates outcome against cost. Remember, we said the long and short of it all is the management of cost, money to the organization. Now, there are different types of performance-based contracts. And really, they are all performance-based contracts. And now, you do not need to scratch your head on this and all that, because the truth be told, any of the contracts initiated could actually flow into the other. You could actually be running a particular contract, for example, outcome-based contract, be running on it, and then you find it flowing into maybe task-based performance contracts. Now, let's take the different contracts. Outcome-based contracts, is this target specific results like lean manpower? That's you actually were able to execute a project with minimum human resources, but you still deliver the manage energy saving costs and efficiency. Now, in this case, the outcome-based, what came out of the contract, management reviews it and see that, oh, wow, this is fantastic. This contract on key performance indicator, which encourages innovation and sustainability. If you are the contractor and you are able to execute, activated certain indices, you must activate certain things, and doing that gives you knowledge and wisdom to do other contracts in other places. Incentive-based contracts, reward. You are able to do this for that. We are adding this. This rewards contractors, and in most cases, all involved with incentives for achieving targets. Why all involved? You, as a staff in the company, supervising and monitoring that contract, you made sure everything was done to the letter. Standards were maintained, quality was maintained, and times were kept. Now, what's the outcome? Things like bonuses for staff and promise of more contracts or retainership to contractor. A contractor was just engaged to execute a contract. But because of his fine way, his refined process of executing that contract, at the end of it, the contractor could say, okay, for example, let's take the hotel with the 100 air conditioners again. A contractor could have been contracted to supply and install those air conditioners. There was no management had no intention of outsourcing the servicing or even giving it to the person that installed, that supplied and installed. But by the way the contractor finished his job, neat job, efficiency, power management, that could even trigger the management to say, oh, for incentive for the good job you've done, we will give you maintenance contract for this job. And there you go. So there are incentives, there are contracts that are based on incentives, what you were able to deliver. Integrated contracts, these are like I said, one company undertaking multi-tax. It's a multi-taxing contract that bundles multiple expectations on one contractor. A single multi-taxing contract who undertakes and tracks things like maintenance, security, cleaning, etc. So it is a contract that allows room for you to integrate. In fact, the contractor could have been brought in to supply these security guards. And in the process of the security guards and all that, the contractor could have noticed that this company, they need gardeners and all that. If you throw that up and the management buys it, beautiful. You draw up a contract, they include it in your job schedule, your job description. So it's an integrated contract under performance-based contract. Your performance is the determinant. Life performance contract, long-term performance, especially on things like machineries, buildings, and other long-term assets. Your building is not meant to be demolished by next year. It's meant to last long. Your machinery, your production line is meant to last long. You as a facility manager is expected to recognize all this. So when the organization wants to drop a performance-based contract, in fact, want to drop a contract, you immediately tell the organization, I recommend that we drop a performance-based contract. Why? One major thing, because all our machineries, our buildings, and other things are not things that will expire in the next 1 or 2 years or dissolve in the next 1 or 2 years or all that, but they are things that are meant to last for life, and we need to maintain them. So we cannot be doing try and log. If there's any issue, we bring in one person to come and repair or maintain. In fact, maintenance contract will make sure those equipment do not collapse, but they continue working. So it always focuses on assets longevity, how long the assets is built to last, efficiency with payment based on that. Task-based performance contract. This contract has specific tasks outlined in it with the expected outcome first before another consideration. So it's like a broken contract, that's segmented contract. You finish this, we see what is done there, and we evaluate it. And if it is acceptable to us, we go ahead and give you the rest. Are we all flowing? Okay, now, why do you have to, based on this performance-based contracts and not the traditional contracts? That's because in facility management, the traditional contracts are not suitable, might fail in most times. So performance-based facility management contract is the best. But why are the other ones failing? Because focus on tasks and outputs instead of outcomes and value delivered. Mark the word, value delivered. Normal contract, we just go and construct us a building or go and build an estate for us. The question is, who monitors the standard of the blocks? Who monitors the road work? Who monitors? So ability to adapt to changing facility needs, because normal contract is normally straight-jacketed. There's always no room to change things. You could be installing a manual sewage system, and then all of a sudden, evolution in science develops automatic sewage system and all that. You cannot, on normal traditional contracts, finds it difficult to go back. In fact, in most cases, for you to go back, you have to cancel the whole contract and start from beginning for that to fit it. But a performance-based contract, being monitored by you, who is a facility personnel in that organization, you find that you can easily flow with it. Overly complex clauses that hinder collaboration and trust in normal traditional contracts. Minimal performance measurement and accountability mechanisms are not always embedded in normal contract, but this you find from my explanation above, you find that all these are embedded in performance-based contracts in facility management. So it's making you understand that this is one of the contract types that is best suited for a facility manager. Minimum performance measurement and accountability mechanism. That accountability mechanism is very important. What do you assess? What are the values? What did you get at the end of the day? And what is the reporting mechanism? One-sided risk allocation that discourages innovation and efficiency. In most cases, you will see a problem that the contractor is arguing with the owner of the business. This happened. You are the one. There has been a situation where a contractor building a house has finished building a house. A subcontractor came in the course of building a fence and all that. It practically destroyed all the water pipes and all that. And the contractor goes back to the owner of the project and say, this has spoiled and all that. You need to give me money to replace it. Hello. It doesn't work that way. The shift from input to outcome, yeah. You need to understand not only your input, but the outcome. What are you putting in? What is going into this contract? But what are you getting at the end? Moving beyond counting hours and activities to measuring real results. Some organizations, some contractors, you deploy them. They are looking at when the sun will rise and when the sun will set, rather than what they have achieved on that day. So performance-based contracts nullifies this. If I come by 12 p.m. and I assess your job and your output, and it is up to it, its value can be rated with what I want. No problem. Your payments will be guaranteed. If I come and it is not, and even if I give and take under 2 hours of my coming to evaluate the job, now listen, my coming to evaluate is you, the facility personnel, that is doing all that. So you are shifting from just input to the outcome. What is coming out is what concerns you, the facility manager. Defining success by service quality, efficiency, and user experience. Whatever is being delivered, if the maintenance contractor is performing and you're having less problem, you have enough, management has enough time to face the core of their business than maintenance and all that. Beautiful. That defines success. Encouraging innovation by rewarding better ways of achieving goals. You engage a contractor to build a 6-kilometer road for 10 million in 6 months, and the contractor comes back and finishes 6-kilometer road in 4 months for 8 million. You assess it, you have your high quality, you have time kept, you have, in fact, the contractor did not save you only manpower, he also saves you resources and saves you money. So it encourages you to reward the contractor, definitely. And you, that you are the one assessing, it also encourages management to reward you accordingly for a job well done. It also shows better ways, because the contractor was able to achieve a 6-month project in 4 months, a 10 million naira project for 8 million. What led to it? How did it come about? And the quality and the standard and time we have met. It helps the contractor also to refine and retune his ways of doing things, and knowing that he has been able to deliver things in a better way. Aligning contractor performance with organizational priorities, no matter what the contractor is doing. What was the target of the organization? What were the standards they wanted? When do they want this achieved? So apart from his performance, is he keeping other key performance indicators? Driving long-term value instead of short-term costs. In a contract and a contractor doing job for you, what is the long-term value for it? The materials being used might be cheap, all falls on you. Defining scope and service levels. In performance-based contract, we define the scope and the service levels, clearly outline the roles. It's all outlined there. Who does what? And of course, monitoring and evaluation. Commissioned us, we are building this project, we are locking you out. You have asked us to deliver it in 6 months. In 6 months' time, you can come. No way. That does not happen. It is your project. You are paying for it. You must have access to it. Establishing realistic expectations for both client and provider. This is another aspect. Do not request for what is impossible, especially if you know the capacity of the contractor that you are deploying. Creating flexibility to adapt to changing facility needs. You have a photocopy machine that does 10 pages per minute. You have increased your work staff and your workspace area, and somebody advises you that, look, there's a photocopy machine that does 20 per minute, which you know will serve you properly and serve your business. Go back into the contract of that machine between you and the contractor and the suppliers. Can we trade this in? Because you also want to, beef up your production, you want to beef up your services, and you need all these fast machines to do that. There must be flexibility, and you must adapt to changes. And as a facility person, it's your responsibility to make management agree to those changes by you using key performance indicators to prove to them that, look, this is needed. We need to upgrade. We need to cascade up, ensuring transparency to reduce disputes and misalignment. Because the facility manager is involved in this contract, you must, as much as possible, try to learn the intricacies of the contracts. Read through the lines. Where you do not understand, nothing says you should not collaborate with other departments, like the legal department, the legal advisor, and even other departments that contract even cuts across, so that you understand what's happening. Then you'll be able to know the content of the contract and be plain and clear. The contractor you're deploying must be honest to tell you what is doable and what is not doable. Establishing measurable KPIs and benchmarks. Identifying performance indicators aligned with business goals. You must identify the key performance indicators. How are they carrying out the job, the contractor? How effective is he? What materials? How is he deploying it? His own supply chain, how is he managing it to attain results? Using data-driven metrics to track efficiency and quality. If the facility manager does not monitor projects, if you do not once in a while assess the quality of the project that's being done, the service being rendered to your office, to your company, in whatever way, is this the CCTV administration? Who is doing it? How effective? How good is it? Is it actually doing its security work? By the time you accumulate data and all this, that will be able to help you to track the efficiency and the quality and know if you need changes or full change or partial change, or if you need to shift away from analog CCTV to digital CCTV. Setting benchmarks to compare performance against standard, you could easily do that. One, internally, between departments, how are they managing facility? Which department seems to be more expensive, more costly to the organization by being somehow a bit careless with machines, a bit careless with facilities, or a bit careless with office furniture and all that, as compared to other departments. How externally, the job you have given a contractor, go and cross-check with other organizations. You have given a contractor the job to maintain your AC, like I said, how many ACs? You go and look for similar organization and ask them what is their experience. You compare and contrast. Enable continuous monitoring and the improvement. If a facility, for any organization that has a full-fledged facility department, there cannot be only one person managing it. Because monitoring is important. And a single individual, is difficult for a single individual to even take monitoring in a 24-hour period, talk less of for years for an organization. But that monitoring has to be done. So if you need more manpower as a facilities personnel, request for it or train those that will follow up. Linking KPIs, key performance indicators, directly to contract reward and penalties. We have talked about that. Once the contract is performing, you have to reward the contractor, make payments and all. And where they perform below, there will be penalties. Either you reduce the contract sum, or in fact, you ask the contractor to go totally, because they cannot come and mess up. Any aspect that goes wrong affects the production of your organization, either in goods or services. Money performance-based facility management contract, you cannot escape this, because what you monitor, what you report, and what you review is actually what is used to assess that contract. One. Two, it is also what is used to make payment for that contract. Three, it is what is used to evaluate the cost of that contract to your organization. So in doing all that, you're establishing clear process for tracking performance regularly. Like I said, you have to have men on the beach who are monitoring. Even if it is just, like I said, cleaning service, who monitors the cleaners? How often are they monitored? What quality of job are they rendering? 2 or 3 people could be, assigned to undertake that, so that you do not get, a biased input. Different people gives you reports. Using transparent reporting to build trust between parties. You do not, and in most cases, for facility personnel to avoid this, do not give contract or recommend your relation, because it's your relation. Recommend people who are capable of doing that job, so that you can be transparent. And most especially, when you are making your recommendation to the management, you make it with clear mind. Conducting periodic performance reviews to assess progress is the same with the number 1, establishing clear process for tracking. Identifying gaps and corrective actions through structured feedback. So long as you are doing this monitoring, reporting, and performance, you will identify the gaps, you will identify issues. In fact, you will identify problems before they arose. And through your feedback and, in the right correction, you will get approvals or initiate approval processes to correct it, so that the organization will continue to function. Driving accountability and continuous improvement over time. Your monitoring, your reporting, and your performance reviews drives accountability and continuous improvement, because what you report back is what will be used to make accounts for whatever is going on. Now, linking payments and penalty to performance. All these that you are going through, that we are looking under under this performance-based facility management contract, are intricate, are things embedded in the contract, and things that once you drop this contract properly, these things automatically set in on their own. Align payments with achieved outcomes rather than activities, like we discussed. You don't come to a construction site and you see a lot of people all over the place, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and yet the building has not gone beyond maybe 3 coaches of block. No, because you're paying for all those people on ground, but the manpower you're paying for is not being channeled to achieve the result that you want. So you must align that payment. Look, you will do this at this rate, at this point, you get so and so amount of payment. Reward service providers for exceeding agreed performance target. When your contractor exceeds, now listen, even this is applicable to your staff, to your personnel. When they perform and exceed expectations, reward them accordingly. If a contractor performs good, reward also accordingly. Also, apply penalties where minimum service levels are not met. Simple. Encouraging accountability through transparent financial mechanism. For you to be able, like I said, carry out the transparent financial mechanism is also based on the human nature, the personnel. You, the facility manager, will also have to be transparent. That's one. Your reports and your processes have to be transparent. After you, the facility manager, has evaluated things and made your report, a third party should be able to pick your report and say, yes, this is transparent, this is clear, this is accordingly. Driving consistent quality and value delivery across the contract. You must make sure that value that you want, the quality that your organization wants, is what you are pursuing throughout. Integrating energy efficiency and cost savings. This ESG is actually environmental social governance. Some people you can align it to environmental okay, I remember that. Now, environmental social governance, this is the assessment of the policies and activities of an organization in relation to its effect on the environment. Good. What I was trying to say, you can relate And what do you actually do apart from that impact that you have seen? How does an organization run its things in such a way that the environment is still good? Your neighbors feel good. In fact, your neighbors it's running its things in such a way that it does not harm anybody or harm the environment or degrade the environment. Social and ethical activities in relation to its environment. Your organization, as a facility manager, no matter what you're doing, you make sure that whatever activity your organization is into does not impact negatively on the environment. One, you make sure whatever your organization or activity your organization is into does not impact negatively on human beings, even internally. I have to do this, embedding sustainability goals into facility management contracts. There must be a way to sustain, to maintain that facility. In fact, I'd like you people to relate this to, let's say you're going to buy workstations for your office, 1,000 workstations, maybe for a training hall, and you go to the shop, you see workstations for 2 naira each one. You go to another shop, you see workstations for 10 naira each one. Now, you will be tempted because of the price to go for the one for 2 naira. Now, what happens? In 1 year, 2 years, the ones for 2 naira collapse. They all go bad. All that 1,000 workstations are thrown out. Another one are brought in. Meanwhile, somebody who paid the one for 10 naira, his workstation is still on 3 years, 5 years, 4 years going. What is the impact of that in the environment? The workstations, you are likely to find out that 80% of the material on them are woods. So if you have wasted 1,000 workstations in 2 years, it means about 10,000 trees, depending on the, are going to be cut in the environment. How have you helped the society? How have you helped the environment? By that, your action. Like we talked about the fast food joints and the affluents and all that. You cannot pollute the environment. You cannot allow smoke to be affecting your neighbors. That is health hazard. You must help to be energy efficient. Your organization must manage its energy where you do not need to leave the light on. Don't leave it on. I've been to a company where their policy is that all air conditioners, including all their meeting and conference room, in fact, it was MTN, everywhere was chilled by 8:30 a.m. in the morning. And it remains like that. And the funny thing was that then the conference rooms and all that were under lock and key. If you're coming to look for me and I need the conference room, I will book for it quite all right. Or you're coming to see me by 2 p.m. If you walked into my office at that 2 p.m. and they direct you to the conference room and you move me, you see that the AC has been on since 6 a.m. in the morning. How are you helping? Even if you're generating your own electricity and your own power, you're adding with your own generator and all, you're adding more fume, more waste oil to the environment, which is not sustainable. And in fact, it will pay you more to monitor, be energy conscious, be utility conscious. Water taps must be closed when they are supposed to be closed. You must have a service provider who effectively monitors all this or installs gadgets that monitor all this. And any service provider that is carrying out service for you that does not recommend all this or look into this, even if management rejects it, it's not good enough for you. So you must align service delivery with environmental, social governance standards and reporting frameworks. And in most organizations and in most places, there are legal frameworks. The local government, the states, or the federal have rules and regulations monitoring. Under normal circumstances, and in Nigeria before, you cannot have a filling station in a residential area. And in fact, a filling station must not have buildings surrounding it. That was the law. And there are reasons for that. Everybody was careful, but anything can happen. So how do you align service delivery with that environmental social governance? It is, you must look into all these aspects in your contract drawing up. And you must look at the parts that affects the government, where government law says this or that. Prioritizing long-term value creation over short-term cost cutting. We have discussed about when we used the workstations as example, demonstrating environmental and social responsibility while improving profitability. You can see some of the banks in most roundabouts here in Lagos. Some of the banks are undertaking the renovation and beautifying of those environments. Beautiful. In fact, what is supposed to happen is that those areas, if not the nature of security, those areas are supposed to be made so fine and good that during break time, workers can go to those places and relax. But if you go there, an area boy will ask you, "Shey your papa land?" Let's move on. Ensuring flexibility for evolving needs. We have discussed that embedding sustainability goals directly into facility management contract framework. There must be sustainability. Whatever their service they are giving should be sustainable. It is not a situation of maybe delivering a project and operation to reduce long-term costs. We have discussed that. Aligning with ESG standards to enhance reputation and compliance. That aspect now, a company that follows ESG standards, you understand me, will definitely attract people because you're environmental friendly. Look, in every friendly environment, people live longer, people live happier, their life expectancy is long. You have no choice than to understand that, look, there is direct correlation between your environment and your life. No matter, most people, they take care of their home, their compound, and all this, just make it, conducive and all that. If the neighbor's house is emitting toxic fumes, whatever you did, it does not work. Lessons learned from successful performance-based facility management contracts. The lessons you have learned is clear alignment of contract objectives with client business goals. In that contract, with everything that you have put in, you see that it aligns with your organization's business goals, and it allows you to attain those goals, because the problem of contract maintenance and all that, you have, shifted it to somebody, efficient organization, efficient hand that's managing it through the ability of you, the facility manager of facility personnel, and your advice. Well-defined and measurable KPIs that drive accountability. So long as you assess contracts, you could have a long-term life contract, maintenance contract, even if that contract is going to last for 5 years, 10 years. Professionalism demands that you do assessment of it regularly, maybe twice a year, maybe on the minimum. Collaborative partnership built on transparency and trust. There must be that partnership between you and the contractor. You must be plain to each other. If a contractor, you have given the contractor the work of renovating your building, maybe you just bought a new building that you want to expand your branch or you want to use, the contractor, while doing that, must be able to open up to you on any anomaly that they have seen on the building, which you might not have seen because you are not experts. Or even if you're expert, you might have overlooked it. You might have overlooked it. So, and it depends on the relationship. Everything is not money. You must have a cordial relationship with any contractor that you know has got anything to do with your organization. And once that relationship is there, there will be free and open interaction. There will be partnership. There will be transparency in everything. And at the end of the day, there will be trust. Continuous monitoring and feedback loops for improvements. That normal, like I said, monitoring helps to give feedback and creates improvements. It helps you to have proactiveness towards any aspect, the security, the health, the environment. And these are 3 factors that affect your organization. Incentive structure that reward efficiency and innovation. Most people overlook this. All you know is that so long as everything is going all right, everything is okay every day, you don't care about who did that, who performed that, who achieved that. You don't even care about the contractor that laid the foundation for that, a good contractor that has done perfect water system for you, that for years there has been no leak in any of the taps. You have not seen a crack on the wall due to leakages and all that. You do not remember. Try to remember. Practical steps to implement in your organization where performance-based facility management contract is concerned. Assess current facility management contract structure and identify performance gaps. Assess it, like I said earlier, even if you are not originally part of the team that draw up the contract, you must make effort to understand what happens in the contract, what was put in the contract, whether you like it or not. As a facility manager or facility personnel, no matter what they give your organization, you will be the one to manage it. So you find out that you might be returning your own personal KPI being assessed by the organization, might be reading 000 all the time. Not that you are not working, but because constantly things are wrong. So you must assess the contract. Engage stakeholders to align goals, expectations, and service priorities. Apart from you, the facility manager who manages, engage other members of staff, other departments, engage management, so that you align goals. The organization must know what it wants first before it takes a step. And once you do that, then your expectations will be met. And you have priorities. You'll be able to say what you want first. In most cases, organizations want everything done fine, but they prioritize and be able to marshal out. This is more important. This will affect us more if we do not take care of it. Pilot performance-based model. You are a facility manager that runs an estate. Now, the estate is maybe an estate of 100 bungalows. We seem to notice that 10 of the bungalows have developed cracks and all that. You do not immediately assume that because 10 have developed cracks out of 100, that the rest will develop cracks. You cannot recommend that let's demolish every building. No, one. Secondly, you cannot, because the cracks are in a particular part, assume that the rest will also be on that part. No. Take care of it one after the other. Assess, do your own assessments, and look at other models before you either de-escalate or escalate higher on what needs to be done. You must use samples. Train teams and partners to manage, monitor, and sustain performance. A facility manager or a facility personnel cannot be a lone ranger, cannot be a know-all. In fact, no facility personnel can know all. If you know all internally, you can't know jack outside. If you know all outside, you can't know jack internally. So you must have people that you put minds together in any situation to solve a problem. The target is to keep your organization running and running profitably. That profit that comes to the organization is to the benefit of all. If it doesn't come, salaries are cut. If it doesn't come, rewards are cut. You must be able to work as a team. You, first of all, have to raise that team that will work with you. Traditional facility management contracts often fail to align with business outcome. Performance-based models create accountability and measurable value. We are now comparing the two. Success depends on clear key performance indicators, monitoring, and continuous improvement. You don't just identify the key performance indicators and assume as all or rest on your own. The buildings, there are certain, if you're into facility management, in Lagos, there are some buildings you will go to, or maybe somebody wants to rent it and ask you to please come and help me and look at the building. The moment you're walking into that building, somebody tells you, this was built by Julius Baja. Now, it was built by Julius Baja, but you are looking at the building and it's a relic. And you're like, you know what? It was built by Julius Baja. It does not mean that the building is not running down. It only means that, look, the quality of job done here, I can bet you if you take that building, even though it's dilapidated, you find out that it will cost you less to renovate it and put it back in order, because most of the key structures of that building are still standing. That was why somebody told you, look at who built it. Success depends on clear KPIs, monitoring, and continuous improvement. Integrating ESG efficiency and innovation drives long-term impact. It drives long-term impact. In fact, I don't know anybody who will want to work in a company where when you're working in, you're closing your nose, or when you're working, you're afraid that something might fall. No. That's consciousness of environment. Sometimes you see some buildings in Lagos, maybe they are renovating and you see them scaffolding, you see them nets, you're like, why all these costs? What is happening? There are reasons. Not only does the law require you to do what you do, the law is also, and you that owns the organization that agreed to do that, it's obvious you are considering the effect of what you're doing on the environment. You're environmental conscious, and people love people like that and organizations like that. If you're environmental conscious, then you'll be conscious of my own health. Then I'll be happy to deal with you. Strong facility management client partnership turn contracts into growth enablers. Do I need to explain that? If you do have that strong relationship but between you, the facility manager, and your clients, definitely the growth, even on the part of the client and you, are inestimable. Thank you all. God bless you, and thank you for listening. I have only 1 minute for questions. You can unmute yourself and ask 1 minute only. Isaiah Emmanuel has your hand up.
Hello.
I can hear you. Anybody has any question?
No, I just wanted to show my appreciation for your lecture. Thank you. It was quite informative, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, how do I become an effective facility manager in a big, large estate?
Whoa. I'll tell you. Based facility management contract is just an aspect. It's just an aspect of hello, somebody speaking? Or somebody speaking?
No, I'm here. I can see you.
Okay.
No, I can see
now
you.
how you can become an effective one is by enrolling in Max-Migold trainings. Just browse Max-Migold. But we are still taking in people to train. Enroll, you become fantastic. In fact, I give you just 1 year max. You'll turn out fantastic.
And when I enroll, do they have practical training on site?
Okay, you may not have joined early. If you
I'm in the group, and
yeah, what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is for this little lecture, if you had joined early, you would have seen practical video of students in the field. You understand? So that answers your question.
Oh, I joined maybe 20 minutes because of the network. I was trying to connect.
Yeah, no problem. Rita, you would like to join this lecture over and over again? No problem. You're welcome. But I advise you to browse Max-Migold and join the team of people that will graduate this year.
You have a recording of this video that we can broadcast.
I'll ask the back office. But if you look at the message, you will see the Max-Migold sites and all that, and copy it or click on it and move in there straight. Somebody, okay, Rita, you're already in the FMC 25 listing. Beautiful. I've exceeded my 1 hour. Are you guys allowing me to go?
Yes, sir. You can take Adeyinka at any question, sir.
What was the question?
I think his hand is still up, so it will better.
Okay. Let him. Okay, Adeyinka, hit it. Shoot.
Mr. Oracle, well done,
How
Joe.
are you? How are you?
I'm fine. Oracle has spoken. Good one. Yes. My question, yes, you have taught me before. I'm just
Really?
trying to refresh myself. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This traditional contract and performer-based contract.
Yeah.
Even though you said that oftentimes traditional contract fail.
Yeah.
But it's rather to go with performance-based contract.
In the facility management field.
Yeah. You wanted to say something?
No, I was
Hello?
saying this in the facility management field.
Yes.
One of the best contracts is performance-based contract.
Yes.
I'm not taking words from you. As a facility manager, whether you like it or not, you understand, you are always assessed from what you're doing. It's a physical, practical work. Facility management is not biro and paper writing. People are seeing physically. Are the lights working? Yes. Are the drainage working? Yes. Is the building strong? Yes. Is the security at the gate working well? Yes. So all these, as I just said, yes, those are all performances that must show. Unlike other contracts that they don't really itemize all the expectations out. You understand? So that's the failure. Now, somebody in another field might tell you that ordinary contracts work. It's based on the field, but on facility management, you are a practical person. You cannot do otherwise. In fact, you find out yourself that automatically you are drawn into the performance assessment aspect. So that's just it.
Thank you. You have spoken well. In fact, that's just it.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. You're all welcome. I appreciate you all. So, sorry, I need to take off. Guys, God bless you all for participating. We will all either see at a Unilag or we'll see online for those that are still more interested. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. I would like to be at Unilag so that I can see you.
No problem.
Bye-bye. It's an oracle.